The moment I realized when I wanted to marry her was probably not too far after she asked me out, because she's the one who originally asked me out. And within the first couple of months of our relationship, it was just a total 180 from the relationship I had come from previously.
I knew Nick wanted to marry me from before we were even in a relationship, and he was actively telling me, I just wish I could marry someone like you. And I was telling him like, oh no, you'll find your own person, it'll be fine. And he was like, no, I just want to marry you, or like someone exactly like you. And I was like, okay, that's cute, that's sweet. And we moved on.
It just felt comfortable and it felt right. And getting to know her family and us being able to bond off of the same foods we liked. Music was a huge factor. Like if she was not about the classics, classic rock, good movies, like it was gonna be a no for me. But when I put her through the test and I knew that we were on the same level and we were speaking each other's language, then I knew.
And then we started dating. We were dating for like 6 months and we were long distance. And I was like, okay, this is not gonna work for me. I cannot be without this person in my life. And we moved in together the next year. And from then on, I was like, okay, done deal. Like, let's put a ring on it. I'm tired of like having these feelings like I wanna be your wife and not being able to call you that. And both of us always were saying like, I don't wanna just be called your girlfriend or your boyfriend anymore. Like I want to be husband and wife.
So I think I started to propose to her when probably shortly after we moved, because after we did New Orleans, we were starting to talk about, okay, where are we going to go visit next? What's going to be our next adult trip now that we're independent adults? And I think we always wanted to visit California, and I know in my mind, I always wanted to visit San Francisco. San Francisco was always one of the top points, or one of the top visit spots for me, and I had proposed San Francisco to her, and she sounded pretty interested in it, and she sounded like she was about it.
He would always ask me, like, if we could go on any trip, anywhere, where would you want to go? And I'd be like, California, San Francisco, like that's where we have always talked about traveling together.
So probably within a year of us living together, that's where I knew San Francisco was going to be the spot, because I had started getting plans early on with Cara and with her parents, and asking for her parents' blessings ahead of time and talking to my family. So I'd say within a year, that's when we started figuring out that San Francisco was going to be the place, and that I knew the proposal was coming.
And so we started looking at rings, and I knew it was coming, I just didn't really know when, and I wanted it to hurry up. And everybody around me knew exactly what was happening except for me. Like my parents obviously knew we were getting engaged, our friends knew that we were getting engaged, everybody knew that we were getting engaged, and I kind of knew that we were getting engaged, but I didn't know when, I didn't know where, I didn't know how.
Well, I feel like if the process of the proposal, I feel like if you were to line Megan and I up next to each other, I feel like most people would think Megan's the planner, but I was very proud of myself when planning the proposal came along and that whole process came along, because I recall the first time bringing this up to Megan's parents and proposing to her was probably, I want to say December of 2017. I remember it pretty vividly, being in her dad's garage and calling this somewhat official meeting and calling them ahead of time on the phone, and to get her dad and mom in the garage and talk to them about my feelings for her and how they had grown so fast and pretty quick. And I basically asked them, I really want to marry your daughter, and this is my plan of taking to San Francisco. And granted, we got engaged in March of 2019, and this is me asking them in December of 2017, so very far ahead. And then after they said, I believe you're the man for her, and we approved. So next, I knew I wanted Cara to be a part of it, and then I believe I started asking her around spring of 2018 time, and getting flight information together and pricing and all that, because I knew I wanted her a part of it, and I knew it would make it that much more special.
So I remember back in November of 2017, getting a text message from Nicholas Batis, saying, "Hey, do you want to go on a trip to San Francisco? I think I'm gonna propose to Megan there in like 2019." And I was like, what? And then I just said, okay, yeah, I'm down. And I had already taken Nick's and Megan's graduation photos. I've taken multiple photos of their relationship, of just them together at this point, them in their first apartment, so on and so forth. And so I've always kind of just been this like photographer friend to other people, but especially to Nick and Megan, kind of just documenting their journey together over the past couple of years. And so I was like, this would be the ultimate gift for me. And I think it would just be the ultimate thing to have, the same person photograph all these little moments to photograph this big moment. And I jumped on the opportunity. I was like, yes, Nick, of course I'll be there. You just tell me what you want to do.
At Christmas time, he gave me plane tickets to San Francisco. And he said, we're gonna have a photo shoot at the Golden Gate Bridge. And I was like, we're getting engaged there. I already know it, we're getting engaged there. And he was like, you don't know, there's a twist. You don't know what's going on. I promise you, like, you think you know, but you don't know. And I was like, I know. Like, I know that this is going on.
Megan knew that Nick was gonna propose to her. You can't get anything past Megan. But Nick, he was like, I know, and we would have these conversations. He would say, I know she knows that I'm gonna propose to her in San Francisco, but I'm so excited that like you're gonna be the surprise, you're gonna be the one taking the photos, and that just like, ugh. Y'all know Nick is the best. And Megan knows Nick is the best like that.
So location, from a fairly early point, again, I think, well, again, us agreeing on going to San Francisco and doing the proposal there was like, what says San Francisco more than the Golden Gate Bridge? And I had just been obsessed with going to see the Golden Gate Bridge for so long. And then I started to research what were the most picturesque points. So there's all these battery points and lookout points around Golden Gate Bridge, and I was looking and looking and looking, and I kept coming back to this Battery Spencer location. It was not super built up, and it was a popular location, but it was kind of in a natural space where there wasn't a lot of man-made features around it. And I then found a little bunker area for Cara to hang out in, and I just felt like that was the place, and I could just I would just dream of doing this proposal again and again, and I just knew that Battery Spencer was the place.
We fly into San Francisco, and I'm like, okay, I'm on edge. I have to be wearing a cute outfit 24/7 because who knows when it's gonna happen. I gotta always look cute because there's gonna be pictures, and I gotta be aware of what's happening. And we spend the whole day with our good friends. We see all the sights, we're doing all the things, and I'm like, tomorrow's our photo shoot. I need to get my hair done.
The day of the proposal, the day of the engagement. So what was going through my mind was, I remember waking up and just, I feel like I had never talked to myself so much in one day. And I remember, and I knew Megan, when we were going to San Francisco, she knew we were going to come back engaged. So I knew that was out of the bag. And that's obviously not the secret I was trying to keep under wraps. But she's like, I'm gonna go get my hair done because we're gonna get this photo shoot done. And I said, okay, you go get your hair done. I'm gonna get ready here and just kind of hang out while you go do that. So, and looking back on it, I was like, wow, she literally walked to the salon on her own through San Francisco, this foreign city to us. And I was like, why did I do that?
And so I make an appointment, and he tells me we're going to Golden Gate Bridge like early that day. And so I make the earliest appointment I can at the hair salon to get my hair done. And I'm walking like by myself through San Francisco in the cold to get to the hair salon. And I get there and I'm like cold but sweaty. It was really gross. And the lady is like, oh, so do you have any like special events going on today? Like, is it a special occasion? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I mean, my boyfriend's taking me to San Francisco, Golden Gate Bridge for a photo shoot. I don't know, is that special? And she's like, do you think he's gonna propose to you? And I'm like, I don't know. But yes, I do know.
So I was getting ready and she was texting me, and I feel like I was not responding a ton because I was literally this close to a mirror, our mirror in our room. I was talking to myself and I was psyching myself out and trying to get the wording down and how I was gonna ask her, and do I say, be my wife? Will you marry me? Trying to get the phrasing down. And she's like, okay, come to the salon. She calls me, and I was like, okay. Again, I'm walking through the streets of San Francisco, walking by locals, literally talking to myself as I'm walking through the streets. And I one of the most memorable things I remember is the weather was beautiful. It had to have been low 60s, not a cloud in the sky, fairly windy, blue skies. It was so picturesque. And I remember going to the salon and watching her get her hair done, and I was like shaking in my seat kind of. And the stylist was saying, you're gonna go get a photo shoot done at the Golden Gate Bridge. Is something gonna be happening? Well, I don't know. And I was just sitting there like, I don't know either. I think it's just a photo shoot from what I'm aware of. Totally lying, as we all know.
She does my hair. Nick picks me up from the hair salon, and we like Uber over, and I'm like on edge because he's like obviously nervous. He's like frantically looking at his phone, and I'm just like looking out the window, like giving him his space, giving him his moment.
I flew in and I texted him, okay, I'm going to my Airbnb. I'm gonna go check out Battery Spencer. I'm gonna go look at photo locations where I can hide. And he was like, okay, you know, texting me frantically and saying like, I'm so excited, I'm so nervous.
Uber comes to pick us up, is taking us to Golden Gate Bridge, the most quiet drive ever, and most awkward drive probably, because I was on my phone the entire time, texting Cara, and I was like kind of side-eyeing her to see if she was looking at my phone, because I was being very secretive. We were not talking at all.
And so the day of, I had this bright idea that I was gonna go watch the sunset at the Golden Gate Bridge, and I was gonna walk across the bridge before going to the lookout spot.
You guys, this is freaking incredible. Oh my God, look.
And so I'm walking across the bridge at like 7:30 in the morning. It's beautiful views. I ended up I walked up this giant hill and finally got to the lookout point, and I was kind of freaking out for a second because I was thinking, oh my gosh, like we've been playing this thing for a year and a half, and there's like nowhere for me to hide.
So I was talking with Cara, making sure she was in her spot. She was sending me pictures of the location she was in, so I knew where she was set up.
So I finally find a spot under the stairs. I hide my suitcase under the stairs, and I hook up my vlogging camera to the pole so that I could still get the video footage of the proposal, but I wanted to make sure that I was hidden.
So we get to the top of the hill. We get out of the Uber, again, very quiet, and I'm saying, okay, the photographer looks a lot like me, so look for a guy who looks like me to throw her off, I guess was my tactic.
We get up there, and I'm like over at the edge, like just looking like, this is so beautiful. It's not like we're gonna get engaged or anything. I'm just watching, and he's like looking around and like on his phone, and I'm like, okay, and he's like, yeah, the photographer is meeting us, and he looks kind of like me, and look for somebody that looks like me. And I'm like, okay.
We're walking past this railing where I'm pretty sure she's in the little bunker area, and I see the tripod. I was like, oh, somebody's doing a time lapse. And I don't think that was fooling her at all.
I hear them walk up, and I think Nick says something like, oh, that's a cool camera. Someone must be doing a time lapse. And Nick has no idea what my setup is at all. He just knows that where I'm standing, and I kind of peek my head up, and I see them walking, and then that person stops them for a photo, and I'm like, oh, come on, because I'm nervous, and my heart's like, boom, 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 boom.
We're literally on Battery Spencer. We're there. We're ready to go, and I'm walking around looking for Cara, and I just leave Megan off somewhere, and I'm walking around. And I turn around and I see Cara poke her head up behind the battery waving, and I'm like, okay, she's there. Okay, so I'm ready to go.
They're walking totally out of my where I was supposed to walk, like away from the bridge, and I'm like, oh, come on. And so I duck back down because I don't want Megan to see me. Like that would be the worst possible thing, is if Megan sees me before it's time. And so I just kind of poke my head up, and my heart's pounding and my stomach's turning, and I know Nick is just as nervous. And Nick and I make eye contact for like half a second, and I go, oh, and I get back down, and Nick's like, yes. You could just see in his eyes, like, oh, okay, there she is.
Eventually, he like grabs my hand and he like starts pulling me over to this certain point, And he like starts talking, and I'm like, whoa, like, where's the photographer? Like, we need the photographer here. And he's like, but I didn't say that because I was like, he knows what he's doing.
I finally like grab Megan and pull her over here awkwardly, and I'm about to propose and get down on one knee, and this random comes out of nowhere and is like, take a picture of me. Will you take a picture of me and my girlfriend, wife, whatever? And I was like, are you serious?
So he keeps talking, and this random couple like walks up to us and is like, hey, can y'all take a picture of us? And Nick's like, kind of in the middle of something here.
So I take this guy's phone and I'm taking a picture, and I'm literally like shaking as I take a picture. And he's like, oh, great picture, thanks. Would you like me to take a picture of y'all? And I was like, no, we have a photographer, bye. And he leaves and he's gone.
So these people like run off, and then Nick's like has to like regain his momentum and like go back into the proposal.
They kind of stand there for a second, and I get a couple photos. And I'm far enough away where nobody can hear me take photos, which is perfect.
So finally, reset, grabs Megan, moves her back to the X where we're gonna propose, and I finally get down on one knee.
And then he turns to her and he starts talking to her, and I have no idea what they said, but I just remember getting my camera big, like my shutter's going so fast.
He like says Megan Diane Miller, blah blah blah, like this whole spiel. And I remember specifically, like, he doesn't say, will you marry me? He says, will you be my wife?
And recalling it from this point, I still to this day cannot even remember what I said, because I think there was so much adrenaline going on, but obviously she said yes.
I said yes, and obviously, and I was good. I was not crying, like I was very like in control. I was super happy, and I was mostly what was running through my head was like, I can't believe I've been waiting for this moment for so long, and now, you know, it's here, it's happening currently. And then he puts the ring on my finger, he gets up off of one knee. I see like people moving in like my peripheral vision, like obviously taking videos or pictures or something. One was like a random girl who we didn't even know took like the most amazing video of us and sent it to us. That was super special.
As soon as he gets up off of one knee and he stands up, I stand up and I go, hey!
Stand up, and we turn to walk away, and I just hear like, hey! And it's Cara, and she's like here taking pictures of us, and Nick is like dying laughing, and I'm just ugly crying like the whole way.
And all we hear is, hey friends, and Cara waving, and then the tears start coming, and Megan is just a mess. The crying is going. I'm laughing, she's crying. I think Cara was crying a little bit as well too.
Megan, oh my gosh, Megan's face. I didn't know that I was gonna cry. I mean, I'm a sensitive person, but when Megan turned around and started boohoo crying, I was like hyperventilating, like laughing, like smiling ear to ear. Nick was smiling ear to ear, and Megan was just like taken aback.
I think I had prepared myself emotionally to get engaged, but I had not prepared myself emotionally to like be surprised by my best friend being there. So I was just crying. I was in shock. I don't remember what was said. I don't remember like what I did except for like ugly cry.
Oh, and I got it all on video too, so that's exciting. Say hi to the camera.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Okay, I thought so.
I was so scared someone was gonna see us.
God, I was so. Oh my
We
god.
walk up and Nick's like, oh, someone must be doing a time lapse. I was
I knew it was her.
all these people were like honking at me. It's like 7:30 in the morning. I'm walking across the bridge. I was like, do it for Megan and Nick.
Oh my gosh.
I like knew deep in my soul Cara was gonna be here, but then when I actually saw her, I was like, no.
There's no way. You knew you
I
had to.
just felt it. I felt it.
I've been best friends with Megan and Nick for years. But for me, on a personal level, that moment, sharing that moment with the two of them and like everything that we've been through, and like that just like it made me feel so good that I could be the person to do that for them, and that when I did pop up, it was just like Megan was so happy, Nick was so happy, and I just can't describe how joyous and how much fun that was.
didn't know you were taking
No, you're
pictures, so I got right in the way, but I
No,
did
you're
get a really
fine.
cute video that actually came out really well. I'll get to the good part, but it's just like, look how pretty this came out.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Wait for the reflection when he stands up. I like almost started crying.
We need that for their wedding video.
I'm definitely gonna send this to you. That's why I wanted
Oh
to
man,
Please.
look at that. I couldn't get that
How
close.
good this came out. Babe, this is the best video. And I
Wow.
sorry, I didn't
No,
know
you're
that you
totally
were
fine. You're totally
there.
fine.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely need to send it to you guys.
100%.
We were just like, I was just completely in shock. Not because we got engaged, like I knew that was coming, but because Cara was there and we had like the best pictures ever, and now we get to hang out with Cara while we're in San Francisco. Like it was just all like overwhelming to me at that point because it was more than I had prepared for it to be.
Oh, you came here! Let me see the rock. Let me see the rock.
You're here. I'm still like in shock.
I flew all the way from Texas for your ass, and you didn't even know it.
Oh my god.
They're getting married. Well, we already knew that,
I
but you didn't know how.
I like yes.
Oh my god.
Whenever he like got down on one knee, I was like not really in shock, and then I saw you and I was like crying.
I started crying. I was like, oh my god. I couldn't sleep last night because I was literally in bed. I was like giggling. I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever heard. You know, we spent the next 30 minutes just giggling about it up at Battery Spencer, just looking at photos and taking engagement photos, and I could just see the two of them and just like the love they share. And I got some hidden videos of them, you know, taking pictures by the bridge, just kind of behind the scenes, and I just love that they let me be a part of that moment.
And that was the proposal, and it went off without a hitch, and it was perfect.
One thing that I've always felt is that you should, if you're gonna marry someone, you should never question whether or not they like you, whether or not they want to be with you. Like if you ever are doubting that they want to be with you, then there's a problem. And that's one thing that with Nick I've never had in my life. Like he's never made me question whether it was 100% he was down for me. And he has shown that in every way, like in our engagement, but just in our day-to-day life. Like he makes sure that I know without a doubt that he is in it for me.
The qualities that I see in Megan that I see as my wife, I think it sounds maybe somewhat cliche, but ultimately I think it's all about balance. I mean, there's just sometimes that I can really struggle, or I don't know what to do in some instances, and I feel like she just always has the right answers, and I can get good information and good advice from my parents and from family and from close friends, but anytime I come to her, I just always feel like that's the answer I was looking for, and I feel like it was in front of me the entire time. And I guess I just need to hear from her because it's so reassuring, and if I have her support, I feel like I can do anything.
Sometimes it's like with small gestures, and sometimes it's with huge, super grand gestures like this. He wants me and everyone around us to know that it is 100% all in, all or nothing. He's about me, and I'm about him.
We started bonding, like we're not really people who go out and stay out all night and get trashed and other things. We just, like sometimes we're like, on a Friday night, we're like, you want to go out to eat? And like, no, I just want to stay in and just drink some beer and watch a movie and order some pizza. And I'm like, that sounds awesome. So I love that we're old spirits and that we can talk to people who are far beyond our age and relate to them in some ways. And when we found that was a similar quality between us, I was like, yeah, she's the one.
He wants me to feel 100% about everything that I have. And I do because of that. He makes me just feel so secure in us. And I just have zero doubts about marrying him, like zero, not for 1 single second. Because I know he's gonna continue to make me feel that way, like forever, for the rest of our lives.
I am so excited to embrace married life with the woman who I want to spend the rest of my life with, who I want to start a family with, who I want to grow old with, and share so many wonderful memories along the way. And I'm so excited to finally call everybody who is here officially my family. And I love you all.
Part of me feels like I'm gonna be sad when all of this is over, but the other half of me is so excited because like I cannot wait for what's gonna happen like the rest of our lives together. Like I cannot wait to watch him graduate with his master's. I cannot wait to buy a house and to start our home with him, and I can't wait to start a family with him. And like I'm literally looking forward to all of those things that we get to do together. And so even though I'm like a little bit disappointed that our wedding is gonna be over soon, I'm so excited to like start the rest of our life together. And like this is just the beginning. We literally have people all over this world, like outside of the country, who are like cheering us on from this day. And like there are people who are gonna be at our wedding, and there are gonna be people who are like cheering us on from Houston, cheering us on from El Salvador, cheering us on from, you know, all around the country and the world, who can't be there for our day, but like we feel their love, we feel their support.
They're still so important to us.
And it's super special that, you know, we're here and we're like getting all these texts and we're like getting all these like comments on Facebook and Instagram. Like people are so excited for us that we didn't even know were, you know, supporting us.
If there's anything that we've learned within our relationship, support is the key, and not just only support for each other, but support from so many other people. And we are so thankful for that support. Beginning of forever.
Beginning of forever. We got this.
I'm very excited, and whether we have a lot to do or we don't, I love you, and I am so excited for everything that's to come, and I am just ready to take you by the horns and live this life with you, and no longer be I, but us, or we.
That's my husband!